So I am a clinical counselor, which means that I see patients face to face. So my current setting is in an outpatient, like ambulatory building, bunch of doctors' offices and like ambulatory surgery, just outpatient things. So I'm in the breast surgery department. And basically, what I do on a daily basis is I have patients scheduled for consults.
Hmm.
So I'll meet with them face to face. We are doing a lot of telehealth right now, also. So sometimes it's on a Zoom meeting. But I meet with patients for about an hour on average. We have our consult and we make a plan. Um, on average between 3 to 4 patients a day. And then the rest of the day is me kind of doing my research for that particular patient and coordinating testing and a little bit more of like the administrative side of work for the rest of the day.
A typical day is 9 to 5. We do work 9 to 5. I do work on call sometimes when we get some issues, like the social workers will bump them up to me. Um, but my day begins with a lot of supervision. I do clinical supervision for each of the social workers on our teams. Um, I do touch bases with them if there are any issues that occur while they're in the field, because our social workers, even though I'm remote, my social workers are going out as needed. We do telehealth, but all of our clients don't have access to phones and webcams and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So we do have to meet them in the field. We do rounds. So we meet with our psychiatrist or our nurse practitioner, and we talk about all of the things that happened the previous day and just kind of catch each other up, because there's a very big emphasis on team approach. So we each meet with the client, and even though the client might be assigned to a specific person on the team, we're each meeting with that client and keeping each other in the loop. It's a very evidence-based practice, but in the sense that each social worker has a different role. So there's a substance abuse specialist on our team, a vocational specialist, a family specialist, and it's important that that client kind of gets a well-rounded approach so that they have their needs met in each of these different categories and aspects of their life.
We were wearing like 3 garbage bags full of PPE. We had 2 masks on. We had the visors on all the time. Every single patient that came in was a COVID patient. We were intubating left and right. Every single day we had different procedures and protocols because no one really knew what was going on, which was both exciting and terrifying, and just a whole lot of emotions very quickly with little time to process. But now that we have a better grasp on what it is and what's happening, it's almost a little bit of a downset to my job. Patients aren't coming in as frequently. The emergency medicine world right now is a little bit at a standstill. I know some of my colleagues are having difficulties finding jobs because the patient volume is so low. People, in my experience right now, tend to be focusing more on telemedicine and outpatient follow-up, which is great for their health. But for emergency medicine, I don't see as many patients as I usually do. But that's changing. That's slowly picking up. Things are starting to come back to the way they were before. For like a month, it was only COVID patients, right? Like what happened to all the heart failure patients, the diabetics, what happened to all these people that we used to see all the time that were actually sick? They're just not coming in anymore. But now we're starting to see them again. We had a couple of good ones yesterday. And like I keep saying, I just keep mentioning yesterday, it was a crazy shift.
But at the same time, you have to be prepared to work early mornings and later nights and weekends, especially when you're first starting out. And then just kind of understanding that, you can have the best laid plans, you can, have the perfect program, the perfect setup, everything. And your client's kid gets sick, they're not coming. And you're like, oh no, like this is gonna mess up our progress for a month. Like, what do you mean you can't come? And like, so again, going back to the fact that like this is not your client's life. It's just part of their life. You are there to, keep them coming and make sure that they are staying consistent. But you have to roll with the punches of real life. And then obviously, again, you can be the best personal trainer in the world, but your client still has to do what you tell them to do. You might be working with them for 90, maybe 150 minutes a week, but they have a lot of more minutes away from you. And a lot more times of temptation with food, you know, skipping that run that they said they were going to do on their off day. So, you know, you can do as much as you can for them. But at the end of the day, you know, they do have to take ownership and, you know, rely on themselves to keep themselves on track as well.
So I work night shift. So three nights a week. Once a month, it's a 4-night week. So like I'll do 4 nights. Overall, you kind of usually start off on nights in most areas. Like you can be lucky and get a day shift and never have to work night shift. But a lot of the times you learn a lot more on nights because you're a little more like independent. You still have other coworkers and like charge nurses, but in terms of management, there's usually not as much management around. So you kind of like come into the shift and it's super busy, and it kind of like off the bat, you have like all these patients, they have all these things that have to be done. And then it kind of like calms down towards the morning.
Mhm.
So a lot of the times when you start, they like you to kind of understand that busyness.